So, March has been like a big book month for me. I've been filming a lot of little free library videos. I've been preparing for next month when I'm going to be doing my Shakespeare month. So I've been going to a lot of used bookstores, a lot of thrift shops, a lot of regular bookstores. And so my book haul for March is 56 books. Without further ado, sorry, I have like 3 stacks of books next to me to try and go through all these books. So, I was gonna like break the Shakespeare books down by publisher, but I ended up just stacking them the way that they are. So we'll just go through them through the stack because I don't want to knock over the stack. And I'll try and tell you about the publishers as I go. So my favorite publisher is New Folgers Library, but because I was buying from a lot of thrift stores and a lot of used bookstores, I just bought, like, I looked at whatever copies they had there and just tried to choose my favorite one out of the options that were there. So I have like a huge variety. I have Signet Classics, like this one here. I have Folgers Libraries, like 3 different editions. I have Oxford Shakespeare. I have other ones that I can't tell from the side what they are. But yeah, I have a bunch of different publishers. So, I have Richard II and Henry IV, both Signet Classics, and Shakespeare, the Oldest Shakespeare, which is The Winter's Tale, which actually, I thought this was going to be like one of the hardest ones to find because I had never actually heard of The Winter's Tale before I decided to try and go out and buy all of the Shakespeare books so I could read them all. So I thought I'd have the hardest time finding this one, but I found it in like 3 different thrift stores, and I found it at Barnes & Noble. It even has the name of the previous owner. The one thing about this version though, is there's not many notes. So it's just got like those little notes on the bottom, but it doesn't have the tons and tons of notes like I'm used to with Shakespeare. So we'll see. I might have to go out and get like the Folgers version if I have trouble reading that one. And then this one, which I actually picked up at a thrift store, and it's The Much Ado About Nothing, and it's the movie tie-in. So I don't think that happens very often for Shakespeare books, having the movie tie-in. But it also has in the middle like pictures of the movie. So, like pictures from the movie and stuff. But yeah. And then it does have like notes on the bottom, so that's helpful. I'm definitely going to be needing my notes. And then I have this one, which is a crafts classic. It is the first part of Henry IV. And this one, like, doesn't have, like, barely any notes in it. But it does have some handwritten notes. But they're in a teensy tiny cursive that I can't read. But I just thought it was so pretty. I'm still trying, and there's, like, for some reason, there's names in the front of the book with phone numbers. But no area codes, just, like, the last 7 digits. So I don't know if that's in case it got lost so they could find it. I didn't know when I bought this, I actually already had Henry IV Part 1. So I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to read this one or read the other one. I did end up getting a few duplicates, going out and searching for these. And so I'm just going to take those to little free libraries so that other people can have the Shakespeare too. And then I got this one, which is the Oxford World's Classics, Henry IV Part 2. And it is the Oxford Shakespeare. And let me show you this. So, like, the whole reason I bought this, I was really excited about this. Okay. So, this whole first part right here, that's all, like, introduction and notes and stuff from Oxford. They're not the actual play. And then just this part here is the actual play. And so that's like half of the book is just notes. And so I'm excited to read those. I'm really hoping they'll help. Richard III. It looks new, but it was from a thrift store. And it's the New Folgers. And then A Midsummer Night's Dream, which I'm actually surprised I didn't already own this. So this is Folger Library. And this is one of the ones from, I think, like the 60s? The 50s. So this is 58. Yeah, Folger Library went through a lot of different renditions. And so, see how those go. The Pelicans, Measure for Measure. And it has, like, somebody, because it's used, somebody actually has their notes in it. I'm really excited about the ones that have notes. I'm hoping it'll help me understand them. Because I can read Shakespeare, but it definitely helps to have notes to understand what's going on. Henry the Sixth, Part 1. Okay. So all of those were all of the used ones I was able to find for this month. Once I checked every single used bookstore and every single thrift store in my city, I decided that I was going to try and go on the websites and that have like thrift stores and try to buy them on there. But I wanted to wait until I got back from California because I didn't want boxes arriving while I was in California. And then I ended up actually going to the Old Globe Theater in San Diego with my mom to shoot the announcement video for the Shakespeare Month. And they had this little gift shop that had like t-shirts for Shakespeare and different things, and they were actually selling every single Shakespeare play in the new Folgers Library editions. And so I had kept a list in my phone of which books I still needed, so I just decided to buy all of the ones that I still needed that were there, because I didn't know for sure if I'd be able to find the other books that I still needed or if they'd get here in time. So, for Henry the Sixth, Part 1, I accidentally bought 2 copies while I was there at the Folgers Library. So I have 2 copies of that one now. And then I have Henry the Sixth, Part 3, and Henry the Sixth, Part 2, which is still a Folgers Library edition. This is the one from the 80s, I believe. So, oh no, this is 1966. So it's between the super thin ones, but before they started getting the really pretty, like, artistic covers. And that was the edition before these ones, which is the most recent editions they have. So this is the Merry Wives of Windsor, and All's Well That Ends Well, and Timon of Athens, and King John, and Pericles, and I think that's Cymbeline? I'm going to have to look that up before I actually do the video on that one. The Two Noble Kinsmen, and Anthony and Cleopatra, which actually I forgot to include that one. So I actually picked up an Anthony and Cleopatra from a used bookstore like a couple weeks ago, but it was like really dirty, and I couldn't decide if I really wanted to keep it. So I kept it on the list and then forgot and bought the new version. So I think I'm going to keep the new version and donate the other version. And then when I got home, I had to go back to Barnes & Noble because they didn't have Henry the Eighth. Oh, Henry the Eighth? I thought I was looking for Henry the Seventh. I need to relook at that because I might not have Henry the Seventh. Did he write a Henry the Seventh one? Either way, this is Henry the Eighth. And I didn't know that Shakespeare had a play about Henry the Eighth, so now I'm actually really, really curious about that. But I got this one at the Barnes & Noble. It's the only copy they had. They didn't have the new Folgers version. And then I picked up Shakespeare's Sonnets and Poems, which I already had the sonnets, but I didn't have the poems. And this one has like a lot of commentary and stuff. But man, this book is huge. Like, I'm used to like normal Folgers ones, which are like the tiny ones. I didn't even know they made these humongous, gigantic ones. So this thing is like a tome on its own. So we got that. And then I also got this other book. I was in one of the thrift stores, it was a thrift store. And I was looking at all the Shakespeare books. And as I was turning away, the word Romeo jumped out at me from one of the bookshelves. And I need a retelling of one of the stories anyway for something. I can't remember what, but I needed one. And so I saw this one, and it's Juliet and Romeo. And it's a romance novel. I'm assuming it's going to be like a happy ending version of Romeo and Juliet, but between 2 families that own flower shops or something. I don't know, but it's a quick read, and it seemed to have good reviews. So I will be reading that as well, maybe. At the very least, I have it. And then I also got The Contested Will, Who Wrote Shakespeare, which is written by an expert on Shakespeare. Let's see, what is he? He is the Larry Miller Professor of English and Comparative Literature at Columbia University. And his name is James Chaparral, and he has written a bunch of different Shakespeare books. But I just thought that was interesting because I've always heard like that there was some contention, people believing that there were actually multiple people who wrote the plays that are credited to William Shakespeare. And so I was curious to read this and see what he has to say about it. So those are all of the Shakespeare books that I read in March, or not read, that I bought in March, that I'm planning on reading in April. There are a lot of them. I think he has like 30 or 32 books, so I'm gonna have to read at least one a day. So now for all of my other ones. I have 2 stacks here as well. So the first stack is a combination of thrift shops and little free libraries and books I got from my mom. Since I was going out searching for all of the Shakespeare books, I ended up going to a lot of thrift shops and used bookstores, and I kept seeing other books that I wanted, so I just got them all. So this, my mom sent me. It is Life in the Sloth Lane, Slow Down and Smell the Hibiscus, and it's a bunch of awesome quotes that are combined with pictures of sloths. And then I have Beyond the Archives, and I got this from a little free library, and it talks about genealogy and family history, which I love. I got this from a little free library. It is Charlotte's Web by E.B. Wright. My stepmom did let me borrow this book when I was really little, but I never finished it, so this is my chance to get to finish it. I picked up The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan from a little free library, because I remember my friends reading this in high school, and I've been wanting to read it since high school and never got around to it. And then my mom also sent me Prilla's Prize, Disney Fairies, and In the Realm of the Never Fairies, The Secret World of Pixie Hollow. And so I'll be putting those with my Disney fairy books. And then, while I was at one of the thrift stores, which, oh my gosh, it was a used bookstore. It was the most beautiful used bookstore I have ever seen. You know how used bookstores are usually like super cluttered? But this one wasn't. It was super organized. It had like chalkboard signs to tell you where everything was. Everybody was super nice. Unfortunately, the prices were really high. The prices of the books were almost as much as they are new. But they were good quality books. But I saw this one in the kids section is East of the Sun, West of the Moon by Jackie Morris. And this is one of my favorite fairy tales. And the pictures are really pretty, so I was curious to read this one and add it to my fairy tale collection. I found this in one of the used bookstores. It is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the complete and unabridged. I did not realize that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is so thin. And it's one of the classic monster books that I've been wanting to read, so I grabbed that. I also grabbed Gulliver's Travels from, I believe, the same used bookstore as that one, because I have been wanting to read Gulliver's Travels forever. I only know about one of the worlds he went to. I don't really know about the other 2 worlds, so I picked it up. And then at Dawn's Paperbacks, I picked up The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, who we all know doesn't exist. I didn't know they made it into a Cinemax original series. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be J.K. Rowling, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's the pseudonym of J.K. Rowling. Okay. And I haven't read any of the series, and I kind of just wanted to have a book that was written by a pseudonym, because I don't have any books that are, so I got that one. And then The War of the Worlds, which I did not know was a book before it was a radio show, before it was a movie. So I want to read the book. And then Half Upon a Time, which I got, it doesn't say which bookstore. Oh, Tidal Wave Books. Okay. I was trying to figure out which used bookstore I got this from. Basically, it sounds like it's Jack, and he lives in like the fairy tale world, and then this girl from like our world falls out of the sky, and he thinks she's a princess and refuses to believe that she's not. But it sounded really, really interesting and funny. It sounded like it was a good, funny book. And then Pride and Prejudice, because I've been wanting to read Pride and Prejudice forever, and I found that at Tidal Wave Books as well. And so, I don't even remember which one Tidal Wave Books is. I went to so many bookstores here. And then Can You See What I See, which I found in a little free library. You'll probably see the one that this one popped up in like a couple months, because that was one of the normal ones that I filmed that's going to take place after the Shakespeare one. So it's April, May. So you'll probably see this in the May video for little free libraries. And then Once Upon a Time Fairy Tale, which is a bunch of fairy tales that have been retold by famous movie stars. So like there's The Woodcutter Grandson by Bruce Willis, and there's one by Oprah Winfrey, and Steven Spielberg and Martha Stewart and Hugh Grant, and I don't see it now, but I saw one in here that was also by Robin Williams. It's one by Mike Myers, Gwyneth Paltrow. So there's a lot of, like, I'm really curious to read their takes on these fairy tales that I've grown up with. And then I also went to Barnes & Noble to try and see which Shakespeare books were there. And so I bought a ton of books there too. Using up some of my gift cards. So I got Maya Angelou's All God's Children Need Traveling Shoes, because this is the next book in her autobiography series that I've been reading. And so I wanted to read the next one, so I bought it. And then Return, which, if you guys saw the video that I did on picture books that are just pictures, this was the last book in the trilogy that I was talking about that I didn't even know existed till I made that video. And I read it, looked through it, and I love it. It's a very heartwarming story. And I love stories about, like, little girls and their dads, so it, like, just, like, gets my heart. And then I ordered Business Pig and Marigold and Daisy by Andrea Zuhl. And I will be doing a video that's completely about Andrea Zuhl, her books anyway. So you will get to learn more about those two books in that video. I actually have a third book by her that came out today that is called Sweetie, but it has not arrived on my doorstep yet. So I can't show it to you. But it's supposed to arrive on my doorstep today because it came out today and I pre-ordered it. And then I got this one. Okay. I'm like super, super legit psyched about this one. My accent is horrible. I can't do an American accent, much less a Scottish accent. But it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's the Scots edition of Harry Potter. And the whole book is like, it's in English, but it's in Scottish. And so, like, if you can see that. And so, I'm just like, I'm super, super, super excited to finally get to read Harry Potter in the Scots edition and, like, get to hear the accent in my head. I actually had my husband reading some of it to me because I can't do accents and I wanted to hear it out loud, and he's really good at it. And it just sounds so awesome, and I can't wait to read it. That book has been waiting to be ordered for so long. It's just been sitting in my Barnes & Noble, like, checkout for, like, a year. I finally have it. And then I got The Waking Forest, which I actually got in a, contest. What do they call those things? A giveaway on, Twitter. And so I won it, and the gentleman pre-ordered it for me, and I will link his page below, but I got it, and it came out this month, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to read it. And then when I was in San Diego, I got a new quad because my son destroyed my other one. And then today, I went by one of the books got ripped. Okay. I went by Barnes & Noble, and I picked up The Word Collector, which is by the same author as The Dot, which are both awesome books that you should read. Oops. I picked up The Joy of Cookies, which is written by the Cookie Monster, of course. And I love that he took a bite out of the book. And so this whole book is like actual quotes that have been rewritten to be like cookie quotes. So I'm like so excited. I love the Cookie Monster. Like, no joke. Like, he's my favorite Sesame Seed. My favorite Sesame Street character. I just absolutely love the Cookie Monster. And then I picked this up at Walmart because it was super, super cute. And it is a lullaby for little one. And it's basically about this mommy bunny and her baby bunny are going around having an awesome, fun day. And then the baby bunny gets tired and starts crying. And she has to sing a lullaby to get it to sleep. And then I got The Crown Man, which is the true story of the invention of Crayola crayons. And that cover is just so colorful and beautiful, and I love it. And I got Remarkably You, which is a picture book that encourages children, as it says, to find what you're good at and what you have to give, and then go share your sunshine wherever you live. And so it is a great, encouraging book that I can't wait to read to my son. And then, last but certainly not least, I got Holy Squawkamole! Little Red Hen Makes Guacamole. And so, basically, she wants guacamole. She makes the guacamole. She asks all these guys for help, and none of them will help her, but they all tell her they will be happy to eat it at the end. And unlike most of the normal Red Hen books, she doesn't go, hey, you guys didn't help me. You don't get any of it. She just lets them eat it. No questions asked. Which I guess, I mean, you're supposed to share your guacamole, but I'm not very good at sharing my guacamole because it's delicious and I love guacamole. And it also has, like, at the end, a guacamole recipe. But you know what? I think I'm going to do a whole video just on this book because I love food and I love this book and it's really pretty. Maybe I'll do a whole video on Red Hen books, but I already shared with you one of the books that I got that's a Red Hen rewriting. But anyway, Red Hen's awesome. And so those are all of my books. I might actually just combine them into one video since it's only 20 minutes long. But those were all of the books that I got in the month of March. That is 56 books. That might be my biggest book haul yet. But I will see you guys later. Bye!